People who have been traumatized in the past can get very uncertain of themselves. And that's when you're prone to confuse behaviors that look like love with the real thing, and then find yourself entangled with manipulative people who want to take your energy. But no matter what they've promised, they don't have anything to give back. My letter today is from a woman I'll call Cynthia, and she writes, "Dear Anna, I'm desperately trying to get over someone who is toxic as well as unavailable." All right, I've got my fairy pencil. I'm going to circle things I want to come back to on a second reading, but let's see what's going on with Cynthia and her toxic but unavailable ex. I met this person a month after a very bad breakup from a relationship of 10 years. Oh yeah, timing, right? In the beginning, he was very attentive and charming. He moved fast to try to get me to open up and trust that he was very interested in me and what he felt was real. Within the first month, he declared that he was in love and had not ever had such strong feelings before. He wanted so much for me to get over my ex to the point that he would joke and once made a meme to demonstrate that he had won me over my ex. He would tell me how crazy my ex was to have broken up with me. Also within the first month, he sat me down to say how he had a vision for our future and that he had strong intentions. Okay, a vision, strong intentions. Was that specific, I'm wondering? We were on video chat daily, texting and calling daily for the first couple of months. The sex was amazing and more intense than anyone I had ever been with. The only problem was, during this time, I found out he was still married. He explained it was pending a divorce and they were still working out details due to custody, money, and property, that the details were taking longer. So once I saw he was still actively involved with someone else, we slowed down. But I did not stop communicating completely. During this first year of knowing him, I was having trouble with money, and my kid's father, although we were divorced, he passed away in a car accident and left me and my kids devastated. Oh, wow, that's huge. Okay, so you had a divorce from your kid's dad, and then he died in a car accident. Yeah, still a terrible loss. This even added more stress, and there was this unavailable man still telling me how much he loved me and would still be there with me through all of it. So he was your boyfriend when this happened. Okay. That's a vulnerable moment. Months, then years passed, and I saw that he was not moving forward in his divorce or even separating. Wait a minute, Cynthia, he wasn't separated this whole time? I didn't get that in what you first told me, that you found out he was still married, but it was pending a divorce. So yeah, normally when people have a divorce in progress, they are not living together. So I just assumed, maybe you did too, I don't know. There was nothing other than words to say or prove that he wanted to be with me. And at this point, I was hooked on hearing from him daily calls and text. Okay. We didn't really see each other much at this point. I decided to move away back to my home state because I knew I needed to separate from him. I knew that's a lot of trouble to go to separate from a guy. I knew this relationship had grown out of control and it was wrong, and I knew that it was wrong from the beginning, but by this time I really loved him. Felt in love. I knew that it was not good to continue with a man still married. 7 years later, we talk on and off, have met to see each other or hook up only several times over the years. I try to stop, but I have limerence back to the early times and I can't get him out of my head. He still makes those empty promises and emotional words that sound good, but still not any effort or proof that what he says is true. I'm just wondering, have you ever met this wife? Does she know about you? Are you an affair, a secret affair? Or are you... This is very confusing for me to hear about, and I don't know if that's because you don't know or because you're compartmentalizing some inconvenient facts about it. You said, I need to turn off the sound of the words, that is, text messages, and block, but I don't. I may try for a month, but then it's back to communication. This cycle needs to stop. I didn't really think I had a crappy childhood until recently watching your videos opened my eyes to behaviors with my parents that were not ideal. I was left alone a lot to watch my little sister. I had to make sacrifices. I was never able to participate in things that I enjoyed outside of the home, like dance or basketball, because I had to watch my little sister and my parents at work. When they were at home, my dad would always go to sleep early, close the door, and not really be available. We had to be very quiet, not wake him up, or he would get angry. He may have had a hidden alcohol problem. Either way, he was not ever available emotionally, although he lived in the home. Fast forward to teen years, my parents divorced, my mom would go out and party. Oh, goodness, okay. Which led to my mom passed in a car accident. Oh, gosh. So your ex-husband and your mom in different, okay. Also, not long after my mom's passing, my dad kicked me out of the house for dating a guy of a different race. Yeah, okay, just validating, yeah, there's trauma here. There's major trauma here. You got kicked out of the house for this man of a different race that later became your husband and the kid's dad, who, like I mentioned, also passed in a car accident. So, yeah, that's just 2, not 3. I made it sound like 3, but it's not just 2. So there is a history of trauma, divorce, death, and abandonment. Yes, gosh. Maybe even a little neglect that happened as a child and teen. Yes, not just a little. Your mom out partying while your dad had to have everything quiet so he could avoid the kids. Not great. And then recreated itself again as an older adult right around the time I met this man. Yeah. I don't make excuses for the longing and limerence that I feel, but I know he appeared at a time I really needed someone. Yep, I understand. Even though he has lied and misled me, used me for his own benefit, we both used each other for different reasons. And now I can't let go and move on to a healthy relationship. You can let go and move on. You can. It's just painful is what you're saying. That is what I desire. You shall have what you desire. Please help me to sort this out and figure out how to go from this to being a healthy single woman to attract a healthy, available man. Thank you for all the videos. Okay. All right. I've got you, Cynthia. I totally understand the trauma you went through. It makes absolute sense that you've ended up in this relationship. And funny that you were dating him when your ex-husband died and your kid's father. That's so big. That's so big. Maybe when people don't have kids after a divorce, it mitigates how traumatic it is when the person dies. But still, it's just what an awful thing. What an awful thing you've been through. And I do totally understand from my own experience what it is to just take the person at hand who is there, who's into you, who would like to come and hang out with you and thinks they're going to be this great influence, and maybe that's their intention. But for you and me, sister, it didn't work out that way, all right? It didn't work out. And so here's what you do. You know this is what you want. I'm going to guess that you are somewhat isolated. And that is how we get into these limerent relationships with people who are just impossible people. I'm sure he has his charms. I'm sure he's kind and friendly and you like the texts. But if you've ever heard my metaphor of somebody who's not really available being like a big bowl of plastic fruit, and it looks so pretty on the table, just like it's going to give you love and affection, and those texts are like, the sure thing. But really what's happening is you're alone. You're critically alone. And you would like to have somebody very solid in your life. Now, you have kids. I don't know how old they are right now. I guess they would be older now. It's been many years that you've been in this half relationship. It's not even half, is it? He's a married man and he BS's you about reality all the time. But it's just somebody. It's somebody to keep your life companioned. And I know, it's precious, isn't it? But you don't have to have this. You can have something better. I know that's what you want. You've said that's what you want. And it feels like you can't do this because after all the losses you've had, yes, letting go of a relationship is going to be painful. You'll feel lonely at times. So here's what you do. You line up a new life. You get ready. Now, people have, if he were to suddenly end it with you, you would deal with it, right? You'd get your life organized. You've considered moving across the country to get away from him. But you can stop having contact with him wherever you live. So whether you immediately go out and get friends and then make your move to end it with him, or And I think that might be a good idea after everything you've been through. You could go make friends at Adult Children of Alcoholics and Other Dysfunctional Families called ACA. That's a 12-step group, or Al-Anon. It sounds like you would qualify there. I'm not sure, but surely this thing about the secret alcohol problem, everything that I'm hearing in your family and your mom partying, I think that's what was going on. So that's a place. That's certainly when I changed my life, I started going to meetings, and it was great because I had outgrown all my friendships or been rejected by my friends because of the way that I had gotten when my trauma really had gotten the better of me. I didn't really have people to hang out with much, but when I started going to meetings, there was always a meeting to go to. And I always said, this is like the party I always wished I was invited to. And it was people who are working on themselves and who get it. And it's not like a perfect group of people or anything, but it's a home base, and it's where you can be honest about what's going on in your life, and you can share with everybody your goal of, I would like to get out of this relationship with a married man. And you'll start to get comfortable with telling the truth to other people. It's kept confidential there. You can tell the truth finally to people. You could also go to a therapist, maybe you do, but I really love the day-to-day support of a 12-step program. Or you can, of course, come into the membership program of mine. We have quite a number, about 1,100 people in a secret Facebook group, and all in communication with peer-led calls and, communicating to each other. And I'm leading a retreat next weekend, and a whole bunch of people are coming up, and we'll be together for 2 days. And I have workshops, and just getting together with people who are working to heal from old traumatic wounds and change their lives is so constructive. When all that's out there are people who don't get it, and maybe they judge us for seeming to be, not having it together. Well, we don't. We don't have it together. We have trauma. And I remember getting judged for it, and certainly feeling very judged for it, and just not relating to people. So it's been really wonderful for me to have people who have what I have, and to be able to be honest. And that's what we do here. So get friends, get female friends, not a new boyfriend right away, not right, like right now is healing time. And just to have friends so that you start to have fun things to do. And the great thing about friends who are in working on themselves is often they want to do good things and have joy in their lives too. So they're not all settled. They actually want to have fun. They can get together for hikes and tea and, whatever activity, birthdays. It's a positive, wonderful change to have friends in your life. When you have friends, you don't have to put up with guys like this. It's necessary when you're all alone in the world, perhaps, just to have anybody at all. But once you have your friends, it just doesn't make sense anymore. And it's much easier to just have that conversation and say, I've really loved you. There's so many things I love about you. And I need to end this relationship. I'm changing my life, and I won't be having contact anymore. And I wish you the best. And then that's it. And if they don't respect the boundary and they keep contacting you, you can block them if you want. But no more contact. That's how we set it right, especially with somebody who's married. I feel very worried about his wife, but we don't have to worry about her because you're not going to be in his life anymore. And he can deal with the repercussions of what he's done to her. But you knew that was going on. So I just want you to absorb the gravity of that situation, of how this relationship has dragged you into a moral quagmire where you could never, hold your head up or feel good or have what you needed. And you can just shut the door on that. And now you have a clean slate to start putting your life right. You can set rules for yourself about what you will do and what you don't want to ever do again. And that can be tremendously empowering. When we're fresh out of trauma, we don't even know what we wanted. We're pretty wobbly. It's easy there's a big gray zone there, isn't there, where we'll compromise anything. Grief and pain and sorrow and anger and all those things, they just take your boundaries down. So your boundaries get to come back up now. And I think it's going to be the best time of your life. If you need help, if anybody else needs help, I have a dating course about how to stop picking the unavailable people and get it right this time. And that link to that course, Dating and Relationships for People with Childhood PTSD, clunky title, right? But that's literally what the class is. It's an online course, and the link is always down below in the description section. And then just to set your sights on something very hopeful and happy. If you want to know the signs that somebody would make a good partner so that you can this is to encourage you to really get clear and write down, this is what I need, this is what I want for yourself, so you decide who to date. It's a free PDF. It's called Signs of a Good Partner. You can download it right there, and I will see you very soon.